Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Thursday VIP call. And we have a bunch of people here. Hey, Tim. Hey, Vlad. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Wally. Wally, good to have you back, man. Good to see you. We have a special guest today, and I was really excited for weeks, and I backed on my knees to have him on here because that's a guy, he doesn't give you so much time on your calendar for good. He's like a really seasoned land development investor. He's on top of the Agentic AI game. And I think this will be the topics for today. He just has a freshly newborn, I think 3 weeks old when I'm right, right? Or 2 weeks
Yeah, no,
old,
you
right?
hit it on the
So,
head. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So, congratulations for that. And with that said, welcome to the show. Brandon Cobb, how are you today, my friend?
Man, I'm fantastic. Excited to be here. It's an honor.
Oh, super cool. Brandon, for everyone who doesn't know you, bring us a little bit in the picture. Who is Brandon Cobb and like what do you guys do?
Yeah, so we take farmland and we get it approved for new housing communities. We work with a lot of builders like DR Horton, Lennar, the bigger guys. So we're typically aiming for like 50, 100, 200 home communities, but it wasn't always like that. So 10 years ago, if you told me we'd be inventing these new housing neighborhoods, I'd have looked at you like you had 10 heads. I never had any desire to get in land development, invent new neighborhoods, or honestly, even be an entrepreneur. I was doing medical device sales. So, young kid, mid 20s, getting to wear scrubs every single day to work with orthopedic surgeons, hospital staff. Like, I thought I was the coolest kid on the block. I was selling a product that I believed in, helping patients. So I was very intrinsically motivated. I was very happy. That was my dream job. And like I had reached doing it at a young age. So I felt very, very accomplished. And then one sunny Friday afternoon, I was having one of the best days I've ever had in my career. Like one of those days where you're like excited to tell your boss how much money you made him. And he calls me up and is like, "Hey, come meet me over at the Starbucks at West End." And of course, I'm just skipping over there, happy to tell him about my day and how well the cases went. And before I could get the words out of my mouth, he fires me. And just like that, my cozy corporate career in medical device sales was over. And if anybody's ever been fired from their career before, or in my case, like my dream job that I worked really hard for, you know that you're not just losing a job, you're losing your sense of identity. And it was really rough for me for a while. I remember all I felt that day was, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And I learned a very important lesson that day, a lesson a lot of people are probably on the call here and have learned, which is that nobody's going to look out for your financial well being but you. You can be as low as you want to a company, put in the blood, sweat, and tears, climb the corporate ladder, all that kind of stuff, but you're just one merger and acquisition, one event from getting let go. And so that's what started my whole entrepreneur journey. And at first, I made a lot of mistakes. I had a little business where I was trying to teach people how to break into medical device sales. That failed. I thought I was good at that. I'm like, well, I did this. And a lot of people asked me, maybe I'll do a business around that. No go. And then I said, well, I'm into the motivational stuff. I'll start a motivational blog. That's what I'll do. Well, that failed. I said, well, I really like the whole Tony Robbins thing. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a life coach. That's the thing I want to do. And Rob, you're going to be very surprised at what I'm going to tell you, but it turns out not many people want to take life advice from a 27-year-old. So that business failed. But then I discovered this vehicle called real estate, and the rest is history. I sold all my retirement accounts to buy my first investment property. Don't do that, by the way. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Don't do that. I did not know you could do a self-directed account and do all that kind of stuff. But I paid the taxes on it, the penalties, all that kind of stuff. Ended up making about $30,000 from that first investment. It was a little house that we flipped, dumped that money in the marketing, and the rest is history. Grew that business to doing about 40 house flips a year. Then we started doing new builds shortly afterwards. We needed to grow the number of new builds that we were doing. So we started going after swaths of land that we could do 30, 40, 50 homes on. And we started getting bought out by a lot of these big national builders. And so yeah, that's the last, I don't know what, 10 years compressed into a few minutes.
Oh wow. I mean there was a lot of juice in that. Like I mean, I don't know who got fired here once in their lifetime. Was there somebody like Vlad,
Wally
yeah,
said, yeah.
Wally, like
Anthony, yeah.
Anthony. Right. I got fired too. Like I had just one job, got fired. This is this is my career thing, right? So No, I think there's a lot of lessons, and I appreciate the honesty because everyone talks about like the Uga Uga and I did so great, and like, but hey, it's a journey to get there, right? And I had a call actually this morning with somebody, like, who was like totally in the beginning of everything and in the trenches, right? And was like, told me like all these things he will do when he's successful. And I said, okay, you're prepared that you'll probably fail for the next 3 to 5 years on whatever you do, right? And because you're not there yet. So no, I appreciate you. So just a little bit. I mean, you stumbled from the real estate side, flipping houses, which I can totally understand from a retired and still recovering house flipper perspective, that you don't do that anymore. You stumbled into this land development thing. Um, Tell us a little bit more about that. Like, what do you do there? How do you do that? Where do you do it? Like, what's the entry barriers? Let's go down that rabbit hole a little bit.
Yeah, so we got into doing land development because we were building a lot of new build spec houses. So and we were going after
Mhm.
the onesie twosies. So like you tear down Nashville's known for the downtown core. It used to be poverty, and then it became very hot when Nashville became a hot market. So it became very popular to go tear down the crack houses and build two brand new nice homes in its place. I mean, it's going on everywhere in the downtown core. And we were doing a lot of that. Problem was the economy of scale. Your PMs are driving all over town to get to job sites, and you each individual lot is different. And so we were having to design the home around the lot. So we had all these different home designs, and there's just a lot of inefficiencies when you're building different products all over the place. And so the light bulb moment went off when we were like, oh my gosh, how easy would it be to build the same product, change up the outside a little bit, go with some brick and stone on one or fiber cement on the other, but the same product over and over again and showing up to just one or two job sites. You would get better discounts from your subs. You'd build the homes faster. You'd get so many economies of scale. And so we started going out trying to figure out where we wanted to do our development projects. We started meeting with a lot of the planning directors at the municipalities. We knew we didn't want to be in the downtown core anymore. It was too expensive. We saw that COVID had pushed a lot of the demand to the suburbs, and affordability was a big driving factor, which you couldn't find downtown. So we started meeting with all the planning directors, and we just pull a chair up and understand what their needs were and what they wanted, and then ask, hey, where do you want to see development? Like, where would you support it? Do you know anybody in the community that might have some land that you've had your eye on that would be good to develop? And they were like, wow, we've never had a developer actually come ask us what we want for having it. They just always present stuff to us and try to shove it down our throat. This is a change of scenery. And we did exactly what they asked. So we found the developer municipalities that were friendly towards developers. So there's a difference between the people who hate developers and are going to do everything to make sure you're not successful because they don't want development. And there's going to be the ones that want to work with you. Well, we just chose to work with the ones that wanted to work with us. And so we started bringing them opportunities, and they're like, yeah, like you put everything that we asked for in it, and we'd like to take this through. So that's how we kind of got started. And one thing we recommend everybody do is, go sit down with the municipalities that you're thinking about doing this in and just understand what their needs and wants are. Because if you can bring them something that has those needs and wants already in it, and you've developed that relationship with them before you come present your development, your odds of getting it approved are going to go up a lot. And so that's a little trick that we sort of stumbled into by accident that's worked really, really well for us.
And I think that's like such a wise approach, right? Because you create a product where you already like literally had like because when like we have a lot of land investors here in the room, right? Like people that buy for low, sell for more, and we're getting it a little bit more saturated. So everyone is looking into entitlements and all that, right? Which is a valuable strategy. But I think, one of the major things like where entitlements go south is like having the tract first and making that fit in the box, right? Like trying, okay, here's this lot and there's this what we could do and like put it, how did you say that? Putting it down their throats, right? Like getting that and get it approved against our resistance here, right? I think the approach you did is this is I think where your business model is like so successful for is you went to the municipalities and actually asked, what's the demand? What do we need in the town, right? Like, I mean, the politicians or like the government knows what is our demand. They have access to that
Mhm.
data, right? We need affordable housing. We need this. We need this. We need that. So going from that direction, like, I love that a lot. And yeah, always have your bias first, right? That's pretty good. Then you know what's there. But tell me a little bit. You know a little bit about what we do, and you know everything about what you do. Where would you say, like for Land Master that says, I want to do entitlements now. I want to go in that space. Like, what should we do and what shouldn't we do? Like, where do you think it's so different from that what you're doing, what we're doing, to compared to yeah, what you were doing?
Yeah. So there there seems to be the guys that are doing development. I'll tell you this, there's a common theme with all developers is I wouldn't go after any developments until you have your cash flow figured out first. That's the most important thing. I've had a lot of conversations with land flippers who are like, "Oh, I just want to go full time development." I'm like, "Don't like land flipping is a great cash flow machine, right? It pays the bills, it keeps the lights on. You can build wealth from it. It's a fantastic strategy for your quick and like medium money. Development is a slow money. I'm not relying on any of my income from my developments to pay my bills or live my lifestyle. Those come from my other businesses. All my developments, they're just wealth building tools. And I don't need to do tons of deals a year. I'm very happy doing one deal every year and a half because they're 7-figure deals. You make a lot of money on them. But they take a year and a half, and you got to have the cash flow set aside, and you got to have a little bit of capital for your civil drawings and stuff like that. But the prerequisite that I always tell people before getting into it is you got to have your cash flow figured out first, because this thing ain't gonna make any money for a year and a half, and you got to be able to write it out. But it's phenomenal for wealth building if you can set up that way. So what you guys are doing is like a prerequisite. You got to have the cash flow coming in. You have to understand how to market. You have to understand how to negotiate with sellers and kind of set expectations. One of the things that I really enjoy about this business is I'm offering them more money than their land is worth. So, I come from a world where it's always like get the best deal, market to distress, whatever we can do to get a deal. When you can have a conversation with somebody and they know their land's worth, half a million, $700,000, and you're offering them, 1.2, 1.3, well, it's pretty easy to have a conversation at that point, right? We don't talk to a ton of people a year. We have a sniper approach and we have a higher conversion because of our value add strategy. The key is we don't buy it until the approvals are in place. So our whole pitch is, hey, I'll give you $1 million more than what it's worth, but you have to wait a year and a half for me to get the approvals because it's not worth it. So those are some of the things that I really enjoy about it, and some of the prerequisites that you kind of have to have before you consider getting into land development. It's a longer play. There's more risk involved if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know the gotchas, and happy to go into some of those things. But I'd say those are some of the key points.
Yeah, I love that. I think that was a pretty good takedown. What I always say is like it's just a different business, and I love that you said you need to figure your cash flow first, right? Because I mean, there's entitlement guys out there. They run around, and I mean, you're a coach in this space too. We can talk about that in a little bit because I think you have a really good concept there. But a lot like figuring out the cash flow first, and you talked about short and midterm money, right? Like is hey, developments like I'm in a project right now that's 4 years on the books. 4 freaking years. Right?
Mhm.
Like so, and there's so much hiccups with emittent domain and all that, right? Like it just takes time. And it's a complete different business because like land investing is about velocity and deal flow. While this here is identifying opportunity and it's a lot of project management. This is what I always feel is that. When we say riskier, like my take on that is that I think depending on how you structure the deals, also with your back end and all that, maybe walk us a little bit. How does a good land development deal look like? I want to hear that. Like, how do you really approach a project. But there's always some money you need to bet inside the process, right? Like some money you need to get out there. I mean, there's ways to do to mitigate that. But bring us a little bit through the life cycle of a development project, maybe that people understand what we're talking about, because it seems like you and me have gone through this. So, and you obviously do every day. So,
Yeah,
let's talk
and
about that.
there's multiple phases. That's what a lot of people don't understand. We came at it from the back end, which is we were building houses and wanted to scale the number of homes. So we were doing like the final phase of development, which is going vertical. The first phase is entitlement. That's just getting the approvals done from the city. So like you take a piece of raw land and you can't just go build whatever you want on it, right? You know, this you got to get the approval from the city. You got to make sure it's a safe community, and so you got to go through that entitlement process where they're vetting everything and making sure that it's safe. So you can do that first, and then the second phase is where you actually do the horizontal, like you're grading it all out, you're putting the roads, the infrastructure, all that kind of stuff, basically making a neighborhood with no homes. That's the second, and then the third is actually building the homes. What we do, and this works for any real estate niche. It doesn't matter if you're doing single family homes like us or multifamily or mobile home parks or whatever. It's the same approval process. We have national home builders as our customer. So we literally just, you could go Google Lennar neighborhoods, Nashville, Tennessee, and you're going to get a map of all their neighborhoods. Cool. Just go to those areas. That's all we do. And what we're looking for are these large parcels of land that are kind of next to other developments or near it or down the road, because we know development is being approved in that area, right? And we know our buyer is there. So, okay, boom, first box, checkbox done. The second is when we get it under contract, we have a 120-day due diligence period. During that DD period, we get a concept plan done. That's just a sketch of what we can build there potentially. We take that concept plan to the city and we say, hey, look at what we got. Like, are you excited about this? And if the planning director is like, yes, we're excited, this has everything we want, the commission's approving stuff like this, you should take this through. We take that concept plan to our list of national builders. We say, hey, look at what we got. Are you excited about this? And if they say, heck yeah, this will go perfect, we're going to be finishing up this neighborhood and we want to start that one. And if they give us a contract and deposit, well, then we start taking it through. That's kind of how we de-risk the back end. We line our buyer up, engage city sentiment while spending a couple $1,000 on a concept plan. That's it. Now, once that's in place, now you're going to need to start doing due diligence on the land. And yes, the expensive part is when you have to get your civil drawings designed. That's going to cost some money. But you could get like a 25 home development done for maybe 65, $70,000 liquid cash. I mean, start to finish and, make $20,000 a pad on it. You can do pretty good on smaller projects. For a larger, like a 100 home project, it's probably going to be $300,000 that you got to have. And that's where we go to investors and we say, hey, we have an approved project. We just need the civil drawings and we have a buyer in place. So it's kind of like bridge money. Like we've got an approved development, we have the buyer that wants to buy it. We need 300 grand to get the approvals in place, pay for the civil drawings and get it approved. And so that's how we de-risk and manage some of the entitlement deals that we do.
So when do you contract with the buyer? Like, how do you do that? Because that's like, okay, that sounds all great in theory, right? And you contact the seller, right? You get the plan done. I think a pre-plan is maybe 5,000, $8,000, something like that, right? So that's like the first thing that's probably out. You present it, and then you get the civil drawings done, right? And you cover that with investors' money. Are you under contract with the buyer already, or is it just a verbal yes? Like bring us a little bit in there, like that people understand how you do that because they're all okay. Where's the
The
money going? What do I tell the
first
investor?
Yeah, the first hurdle that you got to get over before you go to investors is a preliminary plat approval. So that concept plan that cost us a couple $1,000, that sketch, city, they said, yeah, we're excited about this. But we want to see a little bit of engineering done to it just to make sure that this is going to be a feasible project. And I want you to present it. What that does is that concept plan now might have some erosion where it shows It's showing like the stormwater and how the stormwater moves around the development. It's going to show what sewer you're going to tap into that's existing over there, right? You're basically showing the city, hey, we've done some light engineering to it to show how the water is going to move, what we're going to connect into. What it doesn't have is, well, how deep are the sewers going to go? What's the grade going to be? What's the cut and fill? Where the road's going to go? Like all of that comes later during when you do the civil drawings. I'm just doing some light engineering, and yeah, might cost you 7,000-8,000 bucks to get that done, and that's what you're going to submit for a preliminary plat approval. And typically we will have our buyer lined up at that point already. So we'll be under contract. And of course, we're under contract with our seller contingent on the outcome we want. Just like the buyer is under contract contingent on that same outcome. So for whatever reason, we don't get it approved, everybody basically gets their earnest money back. And yeah, we're out 8 grand, we're out 10 grand or whatever. And that's how that would work. Now, after that preliminary plat approval, what that basically is that is an approved development. So it's happening. Like the city has said, yes, we want this, but it's contingent on seeing the civil drawings. So what the heck does that mean? You might have a vacant lot that you see and it's zoned a certain way. You know that you can build a house there. Like the city can't tell you that you can't build a house there. But before they give you that building permit, they want to see the architectural plans. The codes office does. And in those architectural plans, they're looking for what's the egress of the window? Are we going to be able to get a firefighter through there in the event there's a fire? Is the home a certain amount of feet from the road or the front setbacks good? Is it far enough from the power lines? Like the fire department and all these departments are analyzing it to make sure that your home is safe, and then they give you a building permit. It's the same thing for the civil drawings. The city wants to make sure that your development is safe, and as long as their engineers approve of the civil drawings from your civil engineer, then you can get your development approved. And here's the cool part that I didn't know. Those civil drawings take a long time. That's the bulk of time from, time it takes to get approved, because it takes a long time to draw that out. What's cool is those civil drawings get audited by every department in the city. This is why the United States is such a wonderful country to live in. If you've ever traveled to third world countries, you'll get a feeling why. Our communities are safe because these plans have to go through the fire department to make sure there's fire hydrants every so often, so that if there's a fire, the fire trucks can put it out. They have to see the stormwater department is making sure that none of the homes flood and this development doesn't cause the other areas to flood. You've got your public works department that's making sure that the slope of the roads go into the drains. All of these city departments, their job is to make sure that every new community is safe and abides by their standards. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that. But that's the entitlement process. Is each city department is looking at it through their magnifying glass and blessing it so that it's safe. And once they all do that, you have an approved project that's entitled, ready to go.
And then you stop, right? This is where a lot of people are not clear, right? Like what you literally do in land entitlement game, like you play is you take a piece of land and bring all the pieces together. Then somebody can start moving dirt based on the plans that you draw because they're approved, right? I mean, there's two phases that come then, right? And this is it. There's a horizontal development, right? They just like bring in the streets and the sewer lines and the water lines and all that, right? And bring some pads. And then in the very end, like then they start doing vertical and start building houses, right? Um, what do you think in the current landscape? I mean, we talk a lot about in the land industry about the market and how's the market right now, right? Like, how is it going? Like, how were you affected by the changing real estate market that changed over the last 2 years?
Oh, so in 2022, we had about 30, 40 houses we were building. I lost 7 figures on it. All my houses that we were building lost money. Luckily, my land deals did good. But 2022, 2023, that was a rough year for us. There's so many distress. Luckily, my partner and I had the liquidity to continue paying the rate. So like when you build a bunch of, because I told you we do all three phases of development. I was doing a
Yeah.
lot of vertical back in pre 2022. Your construction loans are adjustable rate. You're not getting a fixed rate construction loan. So if you're working with like a bank, like I could have probably done it hard money and paid, a crazy amount, but I had these little loans at 4.5% on $20 million worth of real estate that we were building. And those rates went from 4% to 9% on my loans. And so my holding costs doubled. So not only did my monthly payment double during that time period, none of my homes were selling. They sat on the market, some of them for over a year because nothing was moving. So that quadrupled my holding cost. On top of that, the time frame that it took us to build the homes almost it went from like 8 months to like 14 months because we couldn't get key materials from the logistics, the supply chain constraints that COVID got. We actually had to go to Turkey and China to get some of the building materials just to finish building the homes. Um, so that made it a lot longer, and we were getting emails from Lansing Building Products and Builders First every month. Price increase, price increase, price increase. I mean, it was crazy time. So we got hit with like this trifecta with holding costs going up and timelines going up and budgets going up. It was crazy, crazy times. So yeah, that hit us really hard. But our land deals continued to do very well, luckily. And luckily we had the liquidity to continue paying all the notes and the mortgages on all the houses. But it's good that like we didn't have all of our eggs in that one basket, right? We had our, slow, medium, fast money. I had some land deals that we were doing. The construction company was bringing in income. The key is cash flow. You want to have cash flow before you go and do big projects. So because we had the right foundation, we didn't end up filing bankruptcy or anything or foreclosure or anything crazy like what happened to a lot of other people. So it was pretty crazy times back, and that was only a few years ago. So I still got the fresh lessons.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think that's amazing, right? Because I hear it a lot right now, right? Like I just talked last week with somebody, oh, I do land developments now, right? And I said, okay, like, I was knowing he was not really successful with what he was doing in the land game. Oh, I do developments now. You're pretty much aware that he will not get paid the next 18 months, right? Like, and also what it is. And that's probably for me the biggest risk in an uncertain market where we are. We will not know what is in 2 years or 3 years. You need to be capable of like figuring that out when shit hits the fan, right? And I know you figured it out pretty well because one of the things of this, did I get that right when I talked with your partner Alex, that you founded a business out of this to bring materials from China to the US to build, right? You build an
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
business around
It
that,
was
right?
necessity. We had to say there's a supply business where we import and sell a lot of materials. It didn't start out that way. We had to import the conduit, and I mean we had warehouses full of construction materials that we bought for 20 cents on the dollar compared in the States because we had to, because we're so over budget on all these houses because of the price increases. Because once that budget is set and you get the loan from the bank, there's no givesy backsies. But if your project's stalled because you can't get the materials, and then all of the materials you haven't bought yet, you're getting emails from Lansing Building Products and Builders First that the price is going up and up and up. Like we paid triple for the lumber. Like go back, go type it, go look at the lumber's futures chart and go look at what lumber did. I mean, it went completely vertical. It was crazy. We paid 3x on our lumber package what we had budgeted because we thought it was just going to keep going up. It was the end of the world, right? But yeah, it was wild. We ended up there was a supply company that was created from it where we're like other people wanted to buy the materials from us because they were getting squeezed, and so we started ordering mass quantities and selling it.
Amazing. Dude, let's switch gears here a little bit. I think you got like a lot of like insights in what you're doing and how it works and like where the risks are and what is it compared to line investing. But I know and if you don't follow that guy, you probably want to do that on Facebook or Instagram. Like You're in the forefront of agentic AI. What do you think? How will AI change the real estate business?
I think it already has. I mean, I'm just kind of curious. A quick show of hands. I'm gonna drop down this. Who here has built an AI agent?
Brian has,
Okay.
Jennifer
Got a all
has.
right. A lot of people have. All right. That's good. We've got about 35 of them running. And I can tell you that this is a whole new economy that we're going into that hasn't taken effect yet. Um, every piece of the real estate business is going to be affected by this. I used to have a controller that we paid $90,000 a year who would run pro formas on all the land that came in. And we might do 7 or 8 different pro formas on one piece of land to see if it's going to pencil. It was a full time job, and you had to be very good at cash flows in Excel and tweaking things. AI does it in minutes. What took this guy 4 or 5 days to do 7 or 8 iterations. I mean, it is amazing. I used to have a full time bookkeeper. AI agent, any invoices that come in, it takes it, it uploads it to QuickBooks, it goes to the Excel sheet, it updates the budget. We were paying a full time bookkeeper for that. We had a executive assistant. I was paying $55,000 a year to manage my calendar, remind me of things, take notes during our meetings. It does all that. It sits and listens to our Zoom calls every Monday morning, takes all the notes, updates it to each Slack channel. You don't have to tell it to any of that stuff. Sends a text message to each person on the call with their to-do list from the call. That used to be something that I have to do as like COO, manage people. Okay, here's the marching orders on Monday. This is what's got to get accomplished this week. Hang on, we just met for an hour and a half. Who's doing what? This, that. Okay, hang on. Let me write that down. And when you have meetings that are slow because everyone's writing stuff down, it's not efficient. But when you can have a meeting, we cut out 45 minutes of time in our meetings on Monday just because AI is taking all the notes and reminding us. You don't have to think of all the things that you're responsible for on the call. And I get a text message every Thursday morning with my to-do list, my reminder not to forget. I get one too. So, I mean, those are just a few things, but underwriting. I mean, we could just keep going. We built a tool that saves us 4 hours of underwriting on a land deal. I mean, it's amazing. It took some time to train it, but man, we just feed it the deals that come in. We're able to get so many more offers out the door because of the due diligence agent that does all of the hard work for us. And so, it's a numbers game, right? The more offers you make, the more deals you're going to do. Um, that's the game. And so it's touched every single piece of our business. And I haven't even gotten to like the, building your second AI brain and some of the personalized AI. I'm wearing a Plod device right now next to my Whoop. It listens to every single thing that I'm saying, every call that I have, every conversation. It turns that conversation into usable intelligence that we're able to use and monetize and just make our lives more efficient, right? I feel like I've kind of maximized the business stuff. I'm really interested in the personal life stuff. So, it's given me advice on my marriage, my conversations with my family. It just noticed this past week, 2 different people in my family told me the same thing. It said, Brandon, you might want to be aware of this. I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. So we live in incredible times right now. It's an exciting time to be a human being. It's an even more exciting time to be a business owner.
I love that. I love that. I think the same, right? Like there's the doomsday people and there's the other people, right? Like and I mean there's a lot of things like we can say about that, but I think when you are a business owner today, and when you probably are a human being, but especially as a business owner, you need to think about that because you get outperformed by others, if that makes sense. If you don't use it and use it like as a better Google chatbot, right? Like, okay, yeah, I chat now with ChatGPT, like I chatted with Google, then you're probably not behind, but and I think you're never behind because like mastering it doesn't like take a lot. It just like takes some concentrated effort to get into that. And what I think is that especially with agentic AI, all this like the productivity pyramid was like brown time, light green time, and like gold time. A lot of the brown and light green tasks are just like already today, like automated, like you said, bookkeeping, other stuff, right? Um, that's what it is. So, no, like you teach
You're
people
exactly
this.
right, though. The people that don't figure this out, they're going to get left behind because human beings can't compete with the AI agents. That when I figured all this out in like February, March, that's what kept me up at night. I'm like, holy crap! If I don't figure this out, my competitors will, and there's no bouncing back from it, right? Like once you're out, you're out. Like it's going to be really hard to compete.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that. I see it the same. And um, you teach that to people. Like, what was your greatest learning teaching that? Like, you run a mastermind around AI, right? But you run a land development mastermind too. But like for both of this, like, what is your experience? Like, where are people lagging? Like, what are people saying? How are they like? What happens? What are the results of that? What you're doing?
Are you talking about like when you say where do I see people lagging the most?
Yeah. And what are the biggest like things where they're like, fuck, dude, like I wish I would have known that like a year ago.
Yeah. You know, the lagging piece, the problem that's out there that I see is it's too much information. There are too many things out there. It's so much information, and I've gone through it. It took me a long time to work, and it was a lot of 9 a.m. to 1, 2, 3 in the morning nights because that was the only time I had because we're running businesses during the day. There's just too much information out there, and I think that AI has this umbrella term where there's so many things underneath AI, right? You got AI agents. That's just one little sector that's becoming really popular right now, and a lot of people that may not even know like what an AI agent is. A lot of the big gurus out there, like Grant Cardone, just came out with his course. He just launched it a few weeks ago. Um, then it was Russell Brunson a month or two before that, and then Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi were kind of first to market at the beginning of the year. What they're teaching is like how to build like skills, and that's not Callan Faulkner is probably one of the leading AI people. She was like first to the game. She's got like a $10,000 8-week curriculum. It's teaching how to build like a skill. And what I'm talking about is a server where all of your apps are connected to it, your Zooms, your Slacks, your CRMs, your Go High levels, everything. And you've got agents that are running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that are actually doing the work of real human beings, but better, faster, more efficient. They don't get sick, they don't quit, their dogs don't get sick. Um, that's the biggest thing is it's having your own self-learning brain, right? Everything in my server that I put into it is constantly getting smarter and learning everything that I'm doing. And that's the real unlock is the best information and use cases you get out of AI all come from the context that you give it. So if you're building AI agents, but you don't have a Claude MD file set up that knows everything about your business, if you haven't connected it to your calendar and have it gone through a year's worth of your calendar events, if you haven't connected it to your email and had it gone through a year's worth of your emails and spent an hour telling it about you and your business and trained it on the context, if you do that first and you build the proper foundation, and then start building the AI agents on top, you're going to notice that you're getting a much, much better performing agent. And everything you build from there on out is going to be better performing. That's probably the biggest lag point that I see is people just aren't building the right foundation and they don't know there's too much information out there. And they're using chat gpt or claude and building in claude code or codex in those platforms instead of running everything locally on their computer. Or what I recommend is a virtual private server so that whatever you build is housed on that server because you're just one event from chat gpt or anthropic going up, see you later, and everything you built on that platform is gone. I would start building everything on your own platform, your own VPS, so that it's yours and not somebody else's. So it's a long-winded way to say that I hope I answered your question. Probably went off on some tangents, but yeah, it's a lot right now.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's like, I mean, there's so much out there. I think like one of the skills, like everyone and especially kids need to learn these days, like, like we were asking ourselves, where do we get information? I think one of the major skills you need to learn as a human is how do I filter information and how do I evaluate information, right? But in the very end, I see it the same. Like as soon as you make your whole business dependent on one platform, right? Like that you don't own, they make decisions that you can't own. Like I mean, we have
Hmm.
seen it when Mythos and Fable were released a couple of weeks ago. They shut it off, right? Now this whole watermark discussion on Claude. Okay, now every document you create will have like a watermark in that, right? Like in when Claude does it, like OpenAI will need to do it too soon, right? Like so, it's like
Hmm.
I agree with you on a lot of the things. Nevertheless, that's your starting point, right? I mean, like that you learn how to because the step from how do I use AI? How do I build agents in these major platforms to this is how I build it by myself. That's like my natural evolution, how I like to think about that. Okay, there's this one thing I need to learn how do I chat with it? How do I get better information? But then the second thing is how do I automate things using it to then use that to build my own thing. I think that's a really good evolution because then you see how it works in real time, that you can transfer it in your own environments. Because the third thing you need to learn is how do you use these major platforms then to build those environments because none of us
Yeah.
is probably a developer, right? Like when you see that, right? No, that's pretty cool, dude. There was so much like juice in that. Like, tell us a little bit. I think you run two masterminds around that, right? You have two mastermind programs. Tell us a little bit about what you do there and how people can reach you. Like, and maybe want to do deals with you that want to learn more about the AI thing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's funny when I'm a big proponent of masterminds. We were looking for a land development mastermind when we were first getting into the game, because I've been part of the house flipping masterminds and capital raising masterminds, and it's really propelled our success to a level we never would have been able to by ourselves. So naturally, when we're getting in this business, we said, "Hey, let's go find one." Well, there weren't any. It's not like some of the other real estate niches where there's a mastermind on every corner and a coach that's teaching it. It was a blue ocean where there was nothing there. So we had to figure it all out, and finally we had a lot of people reaching out to us asking, "Hey, I want to learn this. Do you have time to teach me?" And I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm busy." But finally, we said, "Okay, let's do this," because a lot of people were having we saw a lot of people making the same mistakes that we made early on, and we're like, okay, there's an opportunity to help some people here. So we launched it a year and a half ago. The first one's Land Development Accelerator. It's all about land development, land entitlement, building homes, developing all that kind of stuff. And it's a community of people that want to do that kind of stuff, that want access to all the vendors that they need, and all that fun stuff. Then what happened was we do those calls on Wednesday. Well, when earlier this year, when all the AI thing really exploded, we started having more and more conversations on Wednesday, not about land development, but like AI. And I mean, it really just ruled the entire conversation. What are you building? What are you working on? And we're like, okay, I've got to separate these conversations. So we started doing a Thursday call that was, hey, bring all your AI stuff. So everyone's sharing the agents that they've built, hacks that they've got, how they're running things, and it's been a complete game changer. So we do the AI stuff on Thursdays, and we do the land development stuff on Wednesdays. So it's two separate programs that are kind of all under the same roof, and that's in that land development mastermind. I had a lot of people reaching out that don't do land, that aren't in the land business, that were a business owner and wanted to learn how to do it. So we spun off our own little separate AI mastermind that's just around business owner stuff. So I'm pretty sure every single person's in real estate, but in different real estate niches. So we wanted to keep those guys separate from the land folks that are doing the land stuff. And so that's kind of how they were born.
I love that. And I hear great things about this. So, guys, if you are interested in AI or land development, right, like Brandon is the guy to go to. Maybe you want to drop a link or something. How can people reach you?
Yeah, here. I mean, I can put like my phone number in chat if anybody wants to have a conversation. I love talking about this stuff. I mean, it's the future. It's where everybody's going. And what blows my mind there, I just put my phone number in the group. What blows my mind is this stuff is what, 4 months old, 5 months old. I mean, really, March is where things kind of started heating up, and we're what, in August, so it's been what, 5 months. Can you imagine where we're going to be in a year? I can't. I mean, I went from not having any AI agents at all. I didn't even understand what a VPS was 5 months ago to I've got 35 of them built. They're doing the actual work. How I run my business is completely different than how it was before. And I'm trying to extrapolate that growth for another year, another 2 years, and I can't see where it's going. Like it seems like we're headed to this economic singularity because all these technologies are converging together. You got AI, you got blockchain, you've got energy. It's crazy, man. I don't know. Where do you think it's all headed?
I mean, that's a really philosophical question. I think the time frame on that is like really important, right? I mean, obviously the big tech guys are right now in the race for super AI, and nobody can imagine what happens then, right? Like,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of theories about what will happen then, and I think as a society we will enormously benefit from it. For right now, I think what you can do is taking it day by day. This is how I do it, right? Like, okay, there's things I can do that are bothering me that I should do. So let's jump onto that and use AI. And I'm maxing out all my cloud accounts like every
Yeah.
fucking single week, right? Like my brother always he runs actually like a mastermind in Germany around this, where that is no topic at all. Like you always imagine that like all this technology cement in America, we're talking about that. But I read somewhere, I think just 5% of the world population just like have any kind of access to AI and are using it. So that means
Mhm.
95% don't, right? And I think that for the next 2 or 3 years, um, as a business owner in our industry, you need to see that you automate as much as you can, that you can focus on one thing that will stay for a little while around, and that's relationships in your business. Everything else
Mhm.
will be automated, right? And I mean, like we as the land investment company nationwide, we are hitting certain ceilings with this, right? Like municipalities that don't have stuff online, where you need to go in person and get files in person from the drawer. Like the most extreme I had, like we had a question about a property that was a landfill, but like just one guy was knowing about what was really going on, and his name was Earl, and Earl was retired for 6 months, and the only way to reach him was meeting him at Tuesdays, 12 p.m. He was playing bingo in the local pub, right, with his friends, right? Like
Yeah.
so there's so much available, but there's also like, how does it hit reality sometimes? And I think what you need to do as a business owner, automate all that shit that distracts you from doing this relationship thing, right? Like, I think relationships will be something that lasts as what we have as a
Yeah.
society, right? And this is where I would like just get really good, how to become good at sales, how to become like a valuable like person in this long term. Short term, I think you just need to automate fucking everything that's out there, right? Like this
Yeah.
is what it is from communication. Everything that a VA does today will probably not be there anymore in like 1 or 2 years. So when you're a VA in this life, you just need to see how do you build skills that you bring to people, right? And probably in the future you have like 200 customers instead of one, right? Like as a skilled VA. So this is how I see that. Will it be a doomsday? I don't think so. I think one of the major things is like, and that will be really interesting to see over the next couple of years, how are the regulators getting into the game? Because
Mhm.
there
Yeah.
need to be regulations, right? I mean, that they shut down Mythos was like because it hacked all government system within like I think 48 hours that are out there, right? Like this is why Claude needed to pull it back, and I think I read a little bit about that and listened to a bunch of podcasts, and I'm just generally interested. then there was this incident with ChatGPT now, like where they had this isolated experiment and it broke out and got in the wrong internet and in the internet and just like hacked the company to get the answers where it thought it could get it. This is like, how do we regulate this stuff? I think that's a
Yeah.
more political discussion, and that will probably be really like, where do we go as a world? Like, who does this? How does that really work out? And also, how do the regulators keep jobs in place? Right? Like when we have a lot of job replacement, how do we create new jobs? Right? Because they need to be jobs, or I mean, there's different theories of what is there, but people need something to do. And like defining this, what are people doing? This is like a pretty interesting question where I don't have the right answer. I have an opinion on that, but that changes also like every couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, you hit a lot of really good points. Nobody knows, right? But the best thing to do is to use it. And you're right. You have to ask yourself. I think to answer the question where we're going, you have to ask yourself. So, what does it mean to be a human being? Right, because
Yeah,
that's we're gonna strip away a lot of the work that gets done, and at the bare bones at the bottom of it is like, so what does it mean to be a human being, right? Like it's a tough question to answer. Like a lot of people don't think about it because we get so much of our fulfillment comes from our work, right? There's gonna be some kind of
yeah,
existential crisis at some point where we're not having to work and we're kind of like the AI's dogs, right? If you think about your dog, you feed the dog doesn't do any work in exchange for anything. It just laughs and loves you and like it just gets taken care of. I think we're going to be the AI's dogs. I don't know if we'll be their pets. Like, they'll still need us for certain things, but it seems like we're inventing like a new human, a new next level species in some way, shape, or form. So, to your point, kind of what you mentioned, some of the important things I think to do today is if you're like the human element to things. I've got a voice MD file where anything that I'm going to type to somebody has to go through my voice MD file because I don't want people
mhm,
thinking it's AI. It's trained on all my
yeah.
podcasts, all my everything I've written almost, and it literally, I mean, it nails it. I can't even tell it's not me talking or texting. And you need to do something like that if you're going to use AI to communicate, because you still need that human element to it that is going to differentiate you. I saw a post from one of the guys I look up to, and he got a text from one of his mentors. And this guy's very done very well in the real estate space. And he, one of his mentors is Robert Kiyosaki, to give you an idea like of who he can
Mhm.
pay for as far as access to. And he's like was so disheartened because he could tell the response was from AI. Like he asked his mentor for a um he asked him a question to get a response, and AI responded, and he said that it had kind of disconnected the connection. Can I say that? I don't know. That's like a high oxymoron or something, but he just didn't feel as connected to the guy afterwards. So you got to be very careful of that. And somebody asked a question in the chat. So what's the name of the mastermind? If you go to, it's called Land Development Accelerator. If you go to learnlanddevelopment.com, you can go watch a video about it. There's also a free course there you can go grab. It's got tons of content on land development. So it's free. It's designed to get you started too. But hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, crazy times that we're living in. It's an exciting time. I think we're living in the singularity right now. Because if you don't, it sounds like you follow some of the bigger stuff too. When I see Google and Nvidia and Facebook and Anthropic and all these Mag 7 multi-trillion-dollar companies, they're now starting to take on debt. Like they don't need to take on debt. The only reason to take on debt is they want to go faster. And if you look at what they could potentially borrow without overextending themselves, it's $20 trillion. Like most companies take on debt as a percentage of their market cap. And if you look at like a healthy amount for these companies, it's $20 trillion. We're about to get 2 trillion of that, like I think in the next year. I I I I I can't imagine going any faster than where we're going, but that's what's about to happen. So strap in.
I agree with you, Brandon. That was a beautiful, beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. Um, I just gonna have like close it out for now. Maybe give us some closing words, and I open it up for a couple of minutes of Q&A if you have a couple of minutes of time, because probably there is questions to you. So guys, use the chance. Thank you, Brandon, for sharing an hour of your time with us, and close us out, and then we open it up for two, three quick questions to Brandon if you have them, guys.
Yeah, the economic singularity, like I just went on it. I could talk for hours about it. Like I'd say make as much money as humanly possible over the next 4 or 5 years, because like I don't know what's on the other side. I have no idea. I don't think anybody can. I think the entire economy breaks. I don't even think we understand what this economy is going to look like, because when you think about GDP growth, GDP is just all the things that you see around you, right? GDP is change, and GDP has been growing at like 2-3% per year for the last, I don't know what, since 2008, 2009. Before that, it was 4 or 5%. And to get GDP, it's total number of working humans times hours worked times like efficiency. Well, we've got these AI agents now and these Tesla robots that are coming. You're about to enter an infinite human workforce into the population that's going to work 24/7, nonstop. And so, what does that do to GDP growth? I think it's going to be like 20-30% per year. So, literally, what takes 10 years for you to see is going to happen every year, and then the next year, and then the next year. It's going to get faster and faster. And so, this is like the singularity that I think is coming. But we don't know what 20% GDP growth looks like. So, um, make as much money as humanly possible right now, because I don't know what's on the other side. And then, yeah, I can
I
stick around for a
love
few
that.
minutes, have to answer some questions.
Let's do that. Thank you so much, Brandon. Guys, if you have any questions for Brandon, just like raise your hand, we unmute you, and yeah, like use this. Like you don't get access to that guy very often.
Yeah. And if no one's got any questions, I can let you guys go about your day.
There's Vlad. Vlad, let's get him unmuted, and just raise your hand if you want to ask anything.
Yes. Hey, Brandon, what's up, buddy?
What's going on,
So,
dude?
hey, buddy, nice to see you. Um, Self-directed account. What's that mean? You mentioned it earlier in the conversation.
So a self-directed IRA is a account that you can set up, and you can transfer an old 401k or part of an old 401k or your current IRA or your current Roth into this self-directed account and use it to invest in real estate. So if you have a retirement account, you're limited to what they the options that are in it. So if I go log into my Fidelity 401k account, I can only pick from their options. Whereas if you transfer these funds into your self-directed account, you don't get penalized. You have all the same benefits, but you can invest in like other people's syndications and real estate deals.
Great. Then with Karen.
Hello. Thanks. This was an incredible meeting. It's a pleasure to meet you. Throughout the conversation, you had mentioned different um, AI agents that you're using and you're building. Um, I doubt very seriously you're using chat, but can you share what you are using to build your agents? Are you using Claude or are you using something else?
I have my own virtual private server, which is just a computer in the cloud. It's no different than your computer on your laptop. And
Mm-hmm.
I have a number of tools connected to it. Claude Code is one of those tools. Claude Code writes the Python script that builds
Right.
the agent that then lives on my server. That's how I've got it set up.
Okay, so you're not using you're using code to act as the way that it's going to transfer the information. But you're using a version of Claude and no other one. You're building it yourself from your virtual server.
So so Claude Code is just a tool. It writes
Right.
code, and the
Mm-hmm.
code creates software, which is what these
Right.
agents are.
Mm-hmm.
Claude Code is writing. Like I tell Claude Code, um, go everything builds on top of itself, but it goes and it references my memory files. It
Mm-hmm.
references everything about my business, all the apps that it's connected to.
Mhm.
everything that it's trained on how I want to do things. And it goes, oh, Brandon wants me to create a bookkeeping agent. Okay. And so I tell it that, and it goes and it writes the code to build the agent that then is stored on my computer in the cloud, which is a
Mhm.
VPS.
And you chose to store in the cloud for security reasons, or the workhorse of the computer couldn't handle it? Because, I've been using um, Claude Code to do some of that. Like I have it connected to my Go High level. I have it run a script every hour to listen to my conversations that I have with sellers. It grades my conversation. It puts notes from my calls into, because it's not something I want to do. I want it to be automated where it's just reviewing all of my conversations. Um, it writes the code, it puts the notes in, Go High level. But if my computer goes down, basically I'm dead in the water, is what you're saying. Unless I
If you,
get Claude, I mean a virtual um cloud.
yeah, so it's only working when your computer's on. So
Hmm.
everything's going to break. And I don't know how you're set up, but the difference between when you're on Claude and ChatGPT, those platforms are not learning about you.
Hmm.
They're not correcting themselves. This is why you could ask Claude or ChatGPT something a month later and it get it wrong again. And you're like, dude, I've already asked you this, and you got to go through it. My server is a self-learning entity. Everything that I put into it is it's learning how I like to do things. So I'm not having to constantly correct it on everything in the future. And it runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If I
Hmm.
run out of memory, I just go spend another $5 a month and upgrade the memory. I don't have to go buy a new laptop. I'm not limited by the capability of the laptop having to be open 24/7. If somebody steals my laptop, everything that I built isn't gone. I can access the cloud from anywhere.
Hmm.
So those are a few reasons, and you can keep it, and it's separate from your laptop too for people who are concerned about keeping the AI agents separate from like the stuff on their computer. It's separated from it, but those are some of the reasons.
Do you mind sharing what virtual service you're using?
The There's tons of them out there. You can go to DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean, you can get
Hmm.
one set up over there. So, but there's tons of ways to set up a droplet and set up a VPS. But DigitalOcean is the one that I use.
Okay, and if I have a business partner, is it a license per seat license, or you have it for your company, or
It's just a monthly subscription to a computer in the cloud. That's it.
got it? Okay, thank
Anybody
you.
can get in. Yep, you're
All right,
welcome.
thank you.
Guys, that was phenomenal. Thank you so much, Brandon, for sharing. For everyone, our comms call today gets moved to tomorrow. So if you have a deal that you need to get calm or you want to have a second opinion, it will be tomorrow at 12 p.m. CST with Holly. I had some changes in my schedule, so if you have a call with me tomorrow, it will not happen. So I'm on an airplane. So with that said, thank you so much, guys. Have a great day, and we talk soon. Bye bye.